That's because that's the interpretation you put on it, and we have the interpretation that says that.
How do you undo this interpretation according to the Tanakh?
It's not according to the Tanakh. It's not according to the Tanakh.
So if
no, I'm saying because we have the very clear tradition that anybody who teaches something different than Moses about Shabbat, about kosher, about Yom Kippur, he is not a prophet.
I got that point. I got that point.
So he's not a prophet for Israel.
But if the Tanakh is telling you at the same time, a prophet will come.
Well, you're repeating yourself.
No, I'm not repeating.
You are repeating yourself.
Rabbi, this is a very important point which we're missing. We're missing something. Wait.
We're going back to the fundamental point we said at the beginning.
I'll tell you why I'm following Muhammad. Because when I read the Quran in chapter 7, verse 157 tells me, right, that he has been foretold. Who? This man Muhammad has been foretold. Okay, يَجِدُونَهُ مَكْتُوبًا عِنْدَهُمْ فِي التَّوْرَاةِ وَالْإِنْجِيلِ. Clearly, that they find him mentioned in the Torah and in the Gospel. Okay, great. So what we do is we go into the Torah.
Talk for a second here. You talk about Daniel. Daniel, the name for Daniel was Ish Hamudot.
Right.
The person who was the man of delights. The word Hamudot is the same root as Muhammad. He said that 470 years.
I'm not talking about that, by the way.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm not talking about those passages.
I'm talking about that. I am talking about that passage. 470 years, redemption would come. Now, 470 years after the destruction, when Hadrian plowed the Temple Mount.
132, yeah.
132. Plus, what's 132 plus 470?
That's a huge difference.
622.
Yes.
What
Okay.
happened in 622? The Hijra.
Yes.
So there were many Jewish people that believed that.
Right. Okay.
So believe that Ish Hamudot.
Many Jewish people throughout centuries have converted to Islam because they found the prophecies in the book of Isaiah and elsewhere to be very consistent with the life of Muhammad.
Okay, I come to the conclusion you're repeating yourself. So let other people talk.
Okay. So our points. Yeah.
Quite beneficial, to be honest with
you. Yeah.
The conversation was quite beneficial.
Okay, Baruch Hashem. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. And to
just
make.
Remember one thing.
Yeah. And this is no repetition, by the way.
You know, the Jewish people have the idea of covenants, of a universal deen that all mankind has to follow, and that you have to believe in God, you have to believe in reward and punishment, and do good works, and you guys are doing that, and that's just wonderful. As far as we're concerned, you guys can be as great as the high priest of the Jewish people.
And we really appreciate that, and this is one of the reasons why the Jewish people and Muslims coexisted for over 1,000 years.
Absolutely, and why they can continue to coexist.
Absolutely, until the state of Israel was created, everything was fine. Everything was fine in the Jewish world. The Jewish people had the golden age with the Muslims. As you, I'm pretty sure you're a historian. Yeah. You know what happened in Al-Andalus.
There's been ups and downs throughout.
Of course. There's no utopia. I'm not claiming a utopia. I'm saying there were periods of persecution, no doubt. But the overall picture of the Jewish experience in Spain was amazing. The Jewish scholars are telling us it was the golden age. For 3 centuries, at least from 950 to 1250, that was the golden age when some of the best Jewish poets. Yes.
Who was made the
Judah
head of the
Halevi.
Jewish army. Who was made head of the Islamic army.
Yes.
And that was what tremendously upset Ibn Hazm.
Ibn Hazm was.
He was tremendously upset that a Jew should be given permission by the Sultan to control and he wrote tremendous, very difficult things about the Jewish people.
Yes.
And I think we're still living
You see, we have that, but on the other hand, we had a prime minister called Hasdai ibn Shaprut, right? Hasdai was the prime minister before Ibn Hazm was on the scene, right? Yeah, this was 900s. When Abdurrahman III was the caliph, and he was the most powerful monarch in Western Europe, and Hasdai was his prime minister, a Jewish prime minister. So we've had this coexistence, even in the Middle East, even in North Africa. As far as Mughal India, there were Jewish merchants there, flourishing.
As
the state of Israel.
No, it's not just the state of Israel.
You don't think state of Israel changed anything?
Well,
the creation of the state.
Look, we've lived two generations of wartime propaganda. People saying that this person's less than human, this person's less than human. Both sides are trying to blame the other.
Yes.
So we don't have. I mean, first of all, it's forbidden for a believer to believe the internet, for an unbeliever to give news and reports of what's going on. So what we really need are proper religious courts to investigate what's really going on. because we don't have any credible source to really do this. So I'm going to leave that aside to the politicians who can deal with that. But what I do know is that the idea of looking at, if you can see another Jew...
Sorry, do you say when these atrocities are taking place in Israel that we need someone to go and physically have a look at what's happening? Or
I believe you need God-fearing... we need God-fearing judges to collect evidence.
But the initial point I was making was that things went bitter between the... I mean, when I say... I don't mean to be sarcastic, but when I say people who claim to be Jewish in Israel, who are committing atrocities against the Palestinians, things went bitter when those people...
I walk around in Ramallah, I walk around in Nablus.
Right.
I have
the Jews have walked these streets for over 1,000 years. There was no problem.
Today, and I don't see atrocities going on all the time.
Right.
It is what's portrayed in the media. I'm walking around there is not accurate. And I won't.
You don't think that
the
state of Israel is actually committing atrocities against Palestinians? You don't think so?
I did. What I said is it's not accurate. I don't have the information. I don't have the information.
You say you walk them streets.
Yes.
Do you not see houses getting bombed? Do you not see Palestinians getting kicked out their houses?
No.
Do you not? You don't see none of
that.
that.
So you've never heard about Gaza being bombed from the sky and white phosphorus being dropped on?
There is a resistance.
Yeah.
There is one group of people who feel that they are entitled to live there, and there's another group of people who feel that they're not entitled to live there, and they're fighting. And a lot of bad things happen when people fight.
Of course, but do you think there is proportionally they're equal? Do you think they're?
I can't. I'm not a politician. I'm not a reporter. I can't answer that question.
I understand.
Rabbi, but I do say there is a war going on. There is a fight
Rabbi,
going
we're asking you these questions because you have said you walk them streets. I think you just come back yesterday.
No, I'm saying the Jews have walked those streets for over 1,000 years.
What I'm saying is
and Muslims allowed the Jewish people to exist.
What I'm saying is this can happen in the future too.
Yeah.
But what has to happen is we have to respect each other.
Yeah.
Of course.
Absolutely. You have to. I have to believe
Rabbi,
you're a
believer. How do you
believer.
respect each other when one force, the Israeli forces, are going to people's houses and dragging them out of...
How much have you read about the West? In the news, the West talks about Muslims, and they make up stories.
I agree with you.
No, we have seen footage. We're talking about original footage,
which we can show now.
Where the Israeli soldiers are beating children up, and
I will say.
I understand. No, but he doesn't want to talk about that. No problem.
We've got very limited time.
Yeah, stay off.
Maybe about 3 minutes. About political issues. Okay. One thing I can say, he sympathizes more with us because he himself is fighting the same issue within.
No, he's a perfectly nice gentleman. I mean, we've had a very nice discussion.
But I do. I am very much against. I'm very much against.
The reason why this issue came up, issue came up, because the point I was making was the Jewish people and the Muslims, the believers of Muhammad. That's what I mean by Muslims. People who believe in Muhammad as the last messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They have coexisted for over 1,000 years. The Jewish people were vulnerable. They were being persecuted around the world. Muslims took them into their arms and protected the Jewish people and gave them.
Some of them didn't. It was up and down.
Over 90% of the Jewish populations were in the Muslim lands.
At this point, I am disagreeing with you. I do say that the core of the issue. I'm disagreeing that because of the state caused the whole problem. I'm saying it's because of a lack of respect. That's what I'm saying.
Where did this lack of respect come from? Suddenly, after 1,000 years of coexistence, lack of respect pops into existence.
There are plenty of good Palestinians. There are plenty of good Israelis, and they could get along.
Yes.
And I think what we just got to do is like that guy over there who's really talking fiery, and he and I should be able to get along, hug each other, and we should really build a better world.
But you don't see that coexistence was disturbed by the creation of the State of Israel?
I don't think it's impossible today.
Okay.
I think it's still possible.
Right.
I think it's just a matter of wanting it.
Right.
Wanting what?
To coexist. Right.
I mean,
but if I come, if I come into,
it's absolutely haram to judge a person based on what you see on the internet.
Okay.
It's totally these are unbelievers. They have no purpose in the world other than incite worse
So
violence.
what about these settlements that are coming up? The land that's been taken from the Palestinians.
Again,
he doesn't want to discuss that politics. We understand.
Is there any reason why you don't want to discuss this?
Well, the reason, what happened in the Constitution of Medina, you had one, it was called Ummah Wahida. You had Jews and Muslims sitting together. Why did it work? Because you had one judiciary. You had one system of justice. The Jews had their din, and the Muslims had their din, but both of them came to the Prophet tied under one system.
Agreed.
And that's what we need today, and what we don't have between the
But what
Palestinians and the
system-
Israelis.
So,
we don't have.
so are you saying
don't
that
have a way to
Israeli
solve
system is
any
failing?
problems.
Are you saying?
Absolutely failed. The UN's failed. The Palestinians have failed. All of them.
So
failed.
Islamic system was better. The Ottomans
Well,
allowed the Jewish.
I won't say that necessarily was better, but it definitely was on the right idea to have a single system. For
Right,
both sides.
because the Jews
There's
and the
no
Muslims are
way-
coexisting.
There's no way to
Yeah.
solve any problem if you can't. I mean, if you can't trust the guy who's walking behind you, he's not going to stab you. If you can't trust that, what kind of peace can you have? You have to have.
So you are
the
actually
overall-
confirming that the Muslim period
Was a good period.
was a
I'm
good
saying The
period.
Ottomans had the right idea to have a single system over everybody, and in fact,
No, it was not a single system, by the way. No.
it's a millet system.
No. The Ottoman courts were there for the Ottomans, for the Muslims.
No, but
The Jewish Beth Tins were there for the Jewish people.
It was a unified system. There was recourse. You could go to the Sultan.
There was one government. There was one government, but the people in Ottoman Jerusalem lived by their own laws. For example, the Muslims had their own courts, the Jews had their Beth Dins, and the Christians had the priests to
But
govern.
they were tied together.
So this misconception that
they were tied together. All of them
by
would
the
appeal to
by the
Sultan.
political
All
by
of
the
them would
political
appeal to-
establishment called the Ottomans,
Absolutely.
right? The
Absolutely.
Ottomans.
And that's what we don't have today. If somebody
Unfortunately.
breaks somebody breaks a window.
So here we
where
have
are
a
you gonna
Jewish
go?
rabbi advocating for the return of the Ottomans.
Wow, I didn't say that. I said for a single judicial system.
Thank you.
You
So
need to
let's move on.
have.
No, the only
You
period.
can't have justice. You can't have peace if you don't have justice.
Can-
and you can't have justice if you don't have a single judicial
Absolutely,
system.
I agree.
And that's what we need.
I agree.
The UN has completely failed. It has completely
This is
failed.
a thought that's to be cherished. This is what Karen Armstrong. Karen Armstrong is a very good scholar. She stated in a history of Jerusalem that it were the first time these three Abrahamic faiths coexisted was under the system of Muslims. When the Muslims brought the system, when they took over the city, by the way, when Umar the Second, not Umar the Second, Umar the First, he took the city of Jerusalem from the Byzantines, Patriarch Sophronius. They actually put a clause in the treaty that you will not allow the Jewish people to live in Jerusalem, and it were the Muslims who brought the Jewish people back into Jerusalem, right? So this rhetoric out there, or this propaganda out there that the Muslims are somehow anti-Semitic, Muslims are anti-Jewish, Muslims want to wipe out the Jewish people.
The same propaganda is that
This
the
is-
Jewish
this is
people
a lie.
don't like the Muslims, that the Jewish people hate the Palestinians.
We don't
the
believe it.
Israelis are-
We don't
are
believe
out
it.
doing
We
target
meet
practice
beautiful gentlemen like yourself who change our perception. Yeah.
There are plenty of good Jews. There's plenty of good Israelis. There's plenty of good Palestinians. Again, what we need is a single system, and I believe that the religious courts, if you have B'nai Noach, what we call B'nai Noach, and then you have Sharia or whatever, you have honest people who fear God, who are making judgment and not doing it for politics, not to bring power to some other people. I mean, the governments are rising and falling all the time. You need people who, it says both by Islamic tradition, Jewish tradition, that a judge has to feel that he has the sword of Allah above him all the time. If he makes a wrong judgment, he'll be completely cut to pieces. We need people like that today. We don't have that. Okay.
Rabbi,
Nice speech.
can I give you a hug?
Yes.